So I first relocated to the UK in 2018, and I can tell you for free that relocating to the UK is an exciting adventure. It offers the opportunity to experience a rich cultural tapestry, historical landmark, and a dynamic way of life. However, to truly thrive here in the UK as an immigrant, there are essential skills you would need to master. So with that said, in this video, I would cover the must-know skills that will help you transition smoothly into your life here in the UK and help you make the most of your experience. The first skill is language proficiency. Now, this might seem obvious. Yes, I know everybody needs to be able to not speak English because English is the most used language here in the UK. Now, what I want to tell you is that having a solid grasp of English language is crucial for anyone looking to move here in the UK. Not just the language in itself, but the way the British people use the language, like the way they speak their language and the slangs they use and all of that is very important for you to understand it. Because British English actually has its own nuances, idioms, and slang, which can differ significantly from other variants of English. You see, familiarizing yourself with common British phrases, spelling, and accent will help you communicate more effectively and avoid misunderstanding. Now, you can polish your English or understand some of the slangs British people use here in the UK by watching British TV shows. I do that a lot, and films to get accustomed to different accents and regional dialects and how they use English here in the UK. Secondly, you can practice with native speakers through language exchange programs or online platform if you don't have a good grasp of English. You see, learning British slangs and idioms and the way a British person would speak their English will just help you understand casual conversations. The second is to understand the UK culture. Now, the UK actually has a distinct culture with its social etiquette, rules, and norms. Understanding this will not only help you blend in, but it will also help you prevent any unintentional offense to others here in the UK. Now, in the UK, politeness is paramount. British people value manners highly, so always remember to say please, thank you, and sorry when necessary. Now, don't just say sorry out of the blues because they'll be asking you, why are you sorry? Or is it your fault? Or are you the one that caused it? So for instance, let's say someone slipped and fell and it's not your fault and you say sorry. They'll actually ask you what you're sorry for because you're not the one that caused them to fall. So just know when to be polite and when to have manners and when to use please, thank you, and sorry appropriately. Also, queuing is a way of life here in the UK. The British are known for their orderly queues. Like some people even make a living here in the UK by queuing for orders. So for instance, if like the latest iPhone is coming out here in the UK, people don't jump the line here in the UK. You have to queue for it. So what people will do is they'll actually pay people to queue for them just so that they don't jump the queue, because jumping the queue here is a big deal. I remember when the Queen died and they were doing her funeral ceremony, there were two presenters that jumped the queue. They said they were media personnel and they were allowed to jump the queue. But people later found out that they necessarily don't need to jump the queue because they were media crew. I will leave a screenshot of this gist for you guys. Like, it was a big thing because they jumped the queue to see like the Queen lying in state when she died. So queuing is a big deal here in the UK. So whether it's at the bus stop, in a shop, or an event, you need to queue. If you see a queue, please queue. Cutting the line is considered very rude here in the UK. Like, they'll give you the bad stare. If there are some people on the queue that their head, something is touching there, they can even confront you for jumping the queue. So please don't do that. Also, respect for personal space is also a big one. Maintaining a comfortable distance in public space and during conversation is essential. Like, people don't like it when people are in their space, even in public spaces. They like their personal space in public spaces. For instance, if you're on the train and there are other empty seats, like there are lots of empty seats on that particular train, and then a British person sits there, you gotta sit down close to the person, and the person is not your friend. The person will be wondering, why is this person sitting close to me when there's so many empty seats on this train? So please avoid that. And do not talk too close to someone's face when having a conversation. Like, keep a comfortable distance so that it won't be as though you're trying to harass them, especially if you're in a very compromising situation. Maybe you're having an argument with somebody. Don't be too close to that person's face. yeah, because they might think you might want to get physical with them. Try to keep like a safe distance. Even if you're not having an argument, if you're having a conversation, try to keep a safe distance, and always lower your voice when you're talking. You don't need to be too loud, because an average British person is soft-spoken. Like, their tone when they're talking is quite low, so you want to also maintain that. And when you're in public spaces, if you speak loudly, try to like tone it down. Like, British people like their silence. Like here in the UK, those living in terrace or semi-detached house, they used to have a lot of issue because their neighbors will be writing them letters saying you're disturbing. Like, you're in your own house, because they can hear the noise in your own house. They'll write letter to you and say you're disturbing them in their own house. I've experienced it before when we were living in Manchester. Like the last house we rented in Manchester before we left Manchester, I have a video of the house. I'll link it to this video for those who want to see the house tour. Like, it was a terrace house. Our neighbor actually wrote a letter to us saying that the way we climb our staircase is disturbing. So we had to like tiptoe when we are climbing our staircase. Yeah, so you want to be mindful of that. Thirdly, as a new migrant, you might have to rely heavily on the public transport system here in the UK when you first move here. So it is important to learn how to navigate the public transport system. One commendable thing about the UK public transport system is that it is very good and it is extensive. You know, we have buses, like public buses that you can use to go from one place to another. We have trains, and we have the iconic London Underground. So being able to navigate the public transport system here in the UK efficiently would actually make your life easier, especially if you don't own a car or you're yet to get your UK license when you move to the UK. So basically, what you need to do to be able to navigate the public transport system here in the UK is to get familiar with apps like City Mapper or Google Maps for real-time transportation updates. If you'll be living in London or you'll be visiting London often, learn the basics of the London Underground map by understanding the zones and key lines. You would also want to purchase the Oyster card or have a contactless payment system at hand for conveniences when traveling on the public transportation in London. Now, speaking of transportation, I do have a playlist on the channel about how we bought our car here in the UK. I will link the playlist to this video for those who are looking to buy a car here in the UK, so you can get some insights into the process of buying a car as a migrant here in the UK. The fourth skill on my list is financial literacy. Understanding how to manage your finances in the UK is essential for settling comfortably. This includes knowing how the banking system works, understanding the UK tax system, having a payday routine, and budgeting for your living costs. You see, opening and maintaining a UK bank account will make managing your finances, paying your bills, and receiving your salary easier here in the UK. If you are yet to open a UK bank account, I have a video on the channel detailing how to do so. I would link that video to this video for those who are interested in watching it. Also, when it comes to financial literacy here in the UK, you need to learn about the UK tax system by understanding the basics of income tax, national insurance, and council tax. You actually need to understand the tax system here in the UK because if you default on your tax, you can actually be charged to court and you can be prosecuted, which is not good for your immigration record as an immigrant living here in the UK. Now, you see, in the UK, the cost of living can actually vary greatly depending on where you live. So you need to research and budget for the cost of living, including the average rent, utilities, grocery, and transportation costs in your chosen area where you'll be living. Now, still on that financial literacy, you actually need to have a payday routine like I mentioned earlier, because having a payday routine can help you manage your money by establishing a plan on how you want to spend your income. You see, a payday routine can help you avoid extra spending and ensure you have enough money to save. Speaking of payday routine, I do have a video on the channel detailing my payday routine. I would also link that video to this video for those who are interested in watching it. That video is very insightful. It will give you ideas on what to do on payday and how to create a payday routine. Now, I actually want to hear from you. So in the comment section, tell me which of the skills I have mentioned in this video you think are the most paramount for surviving here in the UK as a new immigrant. Now, health is wealth, like they say. As a newbie in the UK, you actually need to know how to navigate the NHS, which is the National Health Service here in the UK. Now, the NHS is the UK's publicly funded healthcare system, And to have access to this service for free as a new migrant here in the UK, you have to have paid for the IHS fee during your visa application. If you did not pay for the IHS fee during your application, you cannot use the NHS for free. Now, knowing how to access healthcare services and understanding your entitlements are vital for your well-being in general. So once you arrive to the UK, you actually need to register with a general practitioner near you, that's near where you live, as your general practitioner is the first point of contact for most healthcare issues. Because here in the UK, even though you've paid for the IHS fee, to access healthcare, you need to go through a GP. Unless it's an emergency, then you can use the emergency contact or go straight to the emergency department in the hospital that is nearest to you. So if it's not an emergency, you have to go through the GP first, and then the GP will refer you if they feel your case needs to be escalated to the hospital. So the GP will refer you to the hospital. So that's why until you get to the UK and you've actually paid for your IHS fee, you need to register with the GP so you can start accessing the healthcare services. Now, as a newbie in the UK, you need to understand what services are free. While many services provided by the NHS are free, there may be costs associated with prescriptions, dental care, and optal care. Likewise, as a newbie in the UK, you need to know the emergency number. In case of an emergency, you can dial for immediate assistance. Now, if you plan to work in the UK, it is essential you actually understand the employment landscape and the work culture. It's very important. This includes knowing your right as an employee, workplace etiquette, and expectations within different industries. You would also need to understand your employment contract, ensuring you know the terms of your employment, including your right to holidays, sick leave, and working hours. Furthermore, you will need to familiarize yourself with UK work norms. Politeness, teamwork, and a balanced work-life approach are valid. You would also need strong networking skills here in the UK. I think that's one thing I've noticed when it comes to the workplace here in the UK. Networking is key. Networking by building professional connections can be important for your career growth. To do this, you want to network with your colleagues, like booking one-on-one with them to get to know them and just build a relationship with them. You also need to attend industry events and use platforms like LinkedIn to connect with others in your field. And that skill you need to master is understanding the legal and immigration requirements here in the UK. It is very important to understand it, because one thing we can all agree on is that the UK's political landscape and laws and immigration laws are ever evolving, ever changing. So it is important you are up to date with the legal and immigration laws here in the UK so that you know your visa conditions, because you can just wake up one day and your visa conditions have changed, so that you can be in the know if there's any update on your visa conditions. You can understand your rights, because rights for immigrants here keep changing, so you can know that. And you can ensure that you comply with the new regulations in case if new laws are made and it affects your visa. Now, you actually want to hone your skills of knowing the latest immigration update, because failure to comply with any immigration requirements on your visa can lead to serious consequences, including deportation or you being banned from re-entering the UK. Now, one way to stay informed about the UK immigration laws that is ever changing and ever evolving is to subscribe to news channels here in the UK, or watch a lot of news, or watch a lot of YouTubers that are always coming to give us the latest immigration updates, just so that you can stay informed about your visa status and so that you are up to date with knowing the terms and conditions of your visa, including your right to work and the duration of your stay. Now, one thing you need to know when it comes to immigration here in the UK is that depending on your visa and your home country, you might need to register with the local authorities such as the police, or notify the local council of your residency, and you might have to do this regularly. So if this affects you or this pertains to you, please take this seriously. So basically, you just want to hone your skills of being in the know of the latest immigration laws, because they are just ever changing and ever evolving, so that you can ensure that you are in compliance with whatever new rule the Home Office introduce. Now, the last but not the least is social integration, like building a community. You see, integrating into the local community is vital to survive here in the UK. Hence, you need to be able to build a social network, participate in community activities, and learn about the local customs and traditions of where you live. You want to do this by joining local clubs or groups based on your interests to meet new people and make friends. Now, if you're a shy person or you're not comfortable with putting yourself out there to meet new people, you can start by joining a community where you benefit from the community, and then you can start getting to know the people. So what I mean is that, for example, if you're a Christian, you can join the local church in your community, because obviously you cannot forsake the gathering of the brethren. You need to go to church. So I know there's online church, but force yourself to go to a physical church. Join a local church in your area. Now, if you join a local church in your area, obviously you're feeding in your spiritual life, but it will force you to start talking to people in your church. And that way you can start meeting new people and making new friends. So basically, just join a community where no matter what, you will just have to join that community, and then you can now start building up from there. Also, volunteering is a great way to give back to the community and connect with others. And here in the UK, there are a whole lot of volunteering groups, especially in your local area. Like we always used to have charity shops, so you can volunteer in the charity shops, and from there you can make friends with your colleagues, and from there you start to build on those relationships. Likewise, you can participate in local events by engaging with local festivals, sports, and cultural activities, just to immerse yourself in the UK's rich traditions. Now, one thing we might all agree on is that the UK is home to football. So if you like football, you can join a club or go watch a match, maybe in a pub where you watch from TV, or go to a stadium and watch a match. And from there, you start meeting people that love football, and you can form friendship groups from there. Now, it is very important that you integrate with the community where you're living here in the UK. And it is very important that you start to make friends, because no man is an island of their own. You actually need people to help you in one way or the other. You need to help people in one way or the other. Like, physical human interaction is actually good for the soul. You actually need it. And the UK can be lonely and depressing. And integrating into the community will actually help you not to feel lonely and depressed. You see, moving to the UK can be a rewarding experience, but being well prepared is actually crucial. Like, you need to be well prepared. You need to start honing the skills I've mentioned in this video before you move. And if you're already living in the UK, you can also work on it. Like, I already made some suggestions in the video. I really do hope that by mastering the skills mentioned in this video and understanding the UK's unique culture and systems, you will be well on your way to making the most of your new life here in the UK. Now, to learn more skills that would help you flourish here in the UK, watch the video on your screen right now.